Alright. Everything again, from the beginning. Once we turn this corner, there's no turning back. So, we're going to make sure that everything is prepared perfectly.
Yes, sir. The biological advantage was clearly seen from the beginning. Virtually untraceable, and with the ability to be released in any number of forms. The obvious choice was one of a familiar virus, yet with the presumption upon the public as being one of an altered state, and therefore unpredictable. As with any influenza, the unpredictability factor need to be made as the main concern upon the generalized public, and this avenue had been well prepared by the influences we hold within certain media organizations around the planet.
Control of the media has always been a top priority. Without it, the ability to manipulate the desired narrative would be almost impossible. With it, the truth is what we say it is.
Yes, sir. The analysis of the necessity of the media was indeed a wise choice. An inordinate amount of fear, as it were, was needed to instill upon the public towards the aggressive nature of this particular influenza. As time passed, it would also be required to add upon that fear with additional variants. But unless the preliminary anxiety was intent enough to cause at least some form of panic, all of the following stages would be of little use.
Excuse me, sir, but why haven't all the media outlets been coerced into assisting with the objective? Many still seem hesitant to report the narrative, as we would have them to.
Too much of a good thing, so to speak, young lady. Opposition can be useful, especially when that opposition is directed from behind the scenes to the desired objective. Let the masses bicker amongst themselves. Each diversion is just a means to an end. The actual degree of variance in each of the subsequent variants has been determined, I would presume, and the projected release dates for each of them.
Yes, sir. We have been quite diligent in both of these areas. If I may, sir, I will now move on to the vaccination protocols. As per your request, all pharmaceutical producers of the vaccine will be absolved from any and all possible legal retribution for their products. Every nation has been divided according to your previous instructions. All singular doses are monitored as to the recipient, their location, and all adverse effects that may occur. Metabolic functions, age groups, individual medical parameters will be recorded for further analysis. Several ingredients in large batches designated for specific areas have been altered, and will be tracked as to the distinct results per individual. We will have access to all medical records of each recipient in a database, ready for your viewing at your convenience, sir.
If all goes as hoped, this should produce an incredible amount of financial resources. An incredible amount indeed. May I ask, sir, the plans for such a windfall of monetary resources?
If it's riches you seek, young lady, then you are of little value to us. To quote the terrible book, riches profit nothing in the day of wrath. Hedges are being removed. His arm is beginning to stretch forth. You would be wise to stay in your place, or you may find your feet slipping.
A curve, so to speak, will be established. The impending fear must be tempered with the idea that all will pass soon, that normal will return, and their lives will be able to continue as they were previously. This deception is of prime importance, for they thrive on hope. Face coverings, specifically over the mouth and nose, will become commonplace soon enough, and will consume their conversations until the appropriate amount of time has elapsed to introduce the vaccines. Too soon, and many will become curious. Too late, and the anxiety may dissipate sooner than what we would prefer. Lockdowns of their societies on a local level will begin, in an attempt to temper their ever-growing fears. Fears that the media will expound on each hour of every day. Of course, as has always happened in their past, many of those who will set these rules upon those under their control will only abide by those rules when they are in the public eye. Nothing has changed in this regard over the centuries. This will bring about economic upheaval, an opportunity for the universal basic income to be implemented at the appropriate time, These lockdowns will increase exponentially with each approaching variant, and will also increase the anger, frustrations, and sporadic violence, most of which will be hindered by their fear of possible repercussions for their actions. Most will do no more than march in the street holding signs of rebellion.
Yes, in many regards they are quite easily discerned. They have always anticipated the best, but feared that the worst will occur. It has always been a common trait with them.
Agreed, sir. As the lockdowns continue to grow in size and time, they will begin to become frustrated even more. But soon that frustration for some will lose its strength, and they will begin to concede that those in authority over them have only their best interest at heart. They will begin in earnest to relinquish their supposed freedoms for a semblance of security and protection. This in turn will begin to cause adversity between the two groups, those who have accepted the vaccination, and those who have refused. Incentives of all types will be offered to those who have yet to comply, and some of those will consent to the protocol but not all. Here is where we will begin to implement the mandates.
Excuse me, sir, but won't these lockdowns cause quite a bit of undue stress and strain upon not only both groups of individuals, but upon the entire populace? Is it really necessary to destroy the entire economy, as well as their personal lives?
Mr. Dagon, may I ask, just where did you find this one? Young lady, you seem to have an inordinate amount of questions concerning this endeavor. I take it you disagree with our proposal. Too many questions can lead to a life of stress, and stress is a prime cause of heart attack.
I meant no offense, sir. It's just that it seems to me that many innocent lives are going to be put at risk if this is implemented. Depression among many will skyrocket, and with it the suicide rates, along with the drug and alcohol abuse that can be expected, the loss of employment and financial wherewithal for so many. It seems as if the cure may be worse than the cause of the need for it.
Such a bright young woman, so inquisitive, so many questions. Like I mentioned, a prime candidate for an unexpected heart attack.
If I may continue, sir, as I stated, the mandates will need to be implemented at the proper time. When the continuing news reports become almost unbearable in their accounts, many will in fact welcome these mandates, seeing them as a needed inconvenience. Each nation will attempt to implement them at a governmental level first. Many will be hindered by their laws, but those laws will be modified as the variants increase. Those who own businesses and who are compelled to adhere to the loudest public outcry, which will be the narrative that will be stressed, will begin the initial process. These mandates will be strengthened by...
Well, it seems we have a visitor. For what reason, may I ask? Do we have the pleasure of your company? Puppet Soldier.
The Most High sends me with a message for you, former son of the morning. The time of the Gentiles is coming to a close. Your days of pride and vanity are nearing an end. Your days of 1,000 years of chains await you.
What awaits me is none of your concern, humble messenger boy. If you would have been cast out with the rest of us, I would have placed you in chains myself, for I cannot stand to be in your presence. Now, begun with you. You are no more than an irritation, a pesky fly that needs to be swatted. Begun, I say.
I will return then to the home that you so detested. Perhaps I will request of the Almighty, if I may be the one to place those chains upon you. Farewell, old serpent, count your days.
Continue, my old companion. I believe we were on the subject of the mandates.
I never did like him. The mandates will be strengthened by the outcry of those who desire to remain in their positions of power, and by those who adhere to the narrative that is being espoused. The anger against those who have refused to receive the vaccinations offered, and their subsequent booster shots, will grow exponentially from this group, for they will see them as those that are hindering the return to what they considered a normal life. Travel restrictions will ensue, not only against those who have decided to rebel in this manner, but against all in many places. These restrictions will continue, and those who will not adhere to the narrative will soon find themselves unable to purchase even the most basic of necessities needed for their continued existence. The pressure of continuing fear will lead to greater frustration, which in turn will lead to even greater violence.
The siege mentality. The only difference is that in this age of mankind, there are no walls surrounding their cities, at least not any that are visible to them. The hedges have been lowered, yet they are not yet completely removed. Only those who have his spirit within them can see the truth of what is approaching, and their warnings to those who cannot understand go mostly unnoticed. Once he removes his sheep from the planet, we will be unhindered by his spirit.
Yes, sir, I see no faults within the scenario, which has been laid out. Their past actions over the centuries has shown their propensity to believe that they can control nearly every situation that arises. Their pride has not lessened. In fact, with the advent of technology, I would ascertain that it has even grown exponentially.
Their pride has always blinded them to the inevitable. They fall just as easily into the traps laid for them today as they have in the past. My time is approaching. They will worship me either by their own free will or by force, but worship me they will. I will take what is rightfully mine. I will remove from them everything but the desire to serve me, to honor me, to glorify me. I will be like the Most High.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.